Thanks for joining us for ThriveCAST. I'm sitting down today with Ryan Short, and he is the co-founder of Cotton Architecture and Design. It's a firm that's really all about building strong relationships and creating spaces that really work for the people using them. With over 15 years of experience in healthcare, civic, and commercial design, Ryan really brings a thoughtful, kind of a down-to-earth approach to architecture. He really focuses on balancing creativity with practicality. So today we're going to talk about your journey and the challenges of running a small firm and why the right partnerships make all the difference. But welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you, Shannon, for the invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your journey. What led you to start Cotton Architecture?
I think being an architect has always been the vision. I don't know when that kernel first kind of popped up in my life, but it's really the only thing I've ever kind of been destined for. It really started back in like high school. I would do drawing. I would always draw houses, and I don't know why. So it really started back then, and I went to a pretty technical high school, and we had drafting classes, and it was that first week in drafting that pretty much solidified it for me. Kind of come from a background of healthcare type people and entrepreneurs in a way, and really technically focused people. So you kind of put all that stew together, and there's really not much else I'd be destined for, I don't think. But I've worked at kind of like you alluded to. I've worked at all sorts of firms. I've worked at firms that have done municipal type work, restaurants, all kinds of different stuff. And then most recently I worked for really a national healthcare type firm that does a lot of stuff in the Southwest, but all over the country. And that's really where the healthcare bug kind of took off, and I've got a lot of my experience. And then about 5 years ago, my business partner and I, who I had met at that healthcare firm, we kind of got the itch and decided to jump off on our own. And I think we both growing up had that kind of bug in us that we wanted to do something. And it sort of comes down to working with people you want to work with and doing things in a way the way you want to do them. And it's been really fun. So that's the 2-second elevator pitch of sort of where we come from, or at least where I come from. Yeah.
So tell me, what's the story behind the actual name Cotton Architecture? Does it hold any sort of special meaning?
Yeah. Kind of the fun story. So my business partner, Steve Goodman, and I, like I mentioned, we kind of worked together for probably 5 years at that healthcare company. And then when we were launching on our own, we were trying to think, why do we want to do this? And it's really about, building relationships with people. We had all kinds of people reaching out to us and wanting to work with us because of our style, our, work ethic, our approach to projects in business. And when we were at that healthcare company, they only would allow healthcare projects. That was their niche, and they're amazing at it. But we'd have people reach out and want to do other types of projects with us. And we were always, had to turn them down, unfortunately. And with our history and kind of passion, we just sort of decided to start. And so it's really that relationship focus. And so as we were launching Cotton, Steve's a word guy, and he really likes to dig into words and meanings and things like that. So we went down this rabbit hole, this like brainstorming thing for a week under super tight time frame. We decided we wanted to launch, and we kind of went down this rabbit hole. And Steve found the word cotton, and really what it comes down to is it's a synonym for the word rapport, which in a way is to build relationships with people. And it's simple, it's like Amazon, it's flexible. We never wanted to be the 3-letter firm, the ABC Architects or whatever. Right. Because Steve and I don't really care about our names. It was never going to be Short Goodman or Goodman Short or whatever. It doesn't really matter to us. We wanted something that kind of identified who we were. It was unique. And really kind of the fun part, the coincidence part of that story is we're located in Arizona. So if anyone's familiar with Arizona, cotton's one of the 5 C's. It's one of the 5 agricultural crops, along with, cotton, I forget the others, cattle, copper, and all these other 5 C's. So it kind of works in that level. That was more of an accident. And then really kind of the third level of the name is one of our first projects was a ground up medical office building. And part of the initial design process, we went out and walked the site, and it was a cotton field. So one of our original old photos is me holding some cotton in my hand, because I had never walked in a cotton field before. So it all, it works on at least 3 different levels, and it's kind of stuck, and it's kind of worked for us.
It's really cool. What a cool story. So, how does Cotton Architecture differentiate yourself in a world of really big name architecture firms, especially in Arizona? So, I mean, it's a mecca for growth and expansion. What makes you guys different than, your next door competitor?
I think it's not only the relationship piece. We really love working with people, working with doctors or developers or whoever on our projects is one of the best parts of my job. So I think it's how we approach people. We're I think approachable. We're friendly. I think we joke around that we're just delightful is what we like to say internally, at least. I don't know what people outside think, but we like to have fun. We are pretty lighthearted in our day to day, but we balance that. We can be very serious. We are a very technical focused firm. When we started, our main market sector was, the most intensive outpatient type healthcare projects. That was really the niche that we launched on. And that just requires super in-depth technical knowledge. So we have that backbone. So we approach all of our projects with that heavy technical focus, extra details, and just making sure everything's buttoned up real tight. Certain market sectors you can get away with a lot less, but we don't like playing in those worlds. We're very technically focused. We do our job. We do it very well, but we like to have fun along the way and build those relationships with people. And I
So
think
you
that's... Oh,
guys,
go ahead.
well, you guys, so you mainly focus in healthcare, right? But do you also touch in government and higher ed? And like, why these sectors as your focus?
We started in healthcare because that was our big experience prior to Cotton. And
Right. Mm.
really, when you're starting out, or at least in this architecture, entrepreneur, small firm type world, I don't want to say you take every opportunity that comes, but you are open to other opportunities. And kind of like I alluded to, we love doing other types of market sectors. Healthcare is personally my number one, but I have a lot of interest elsewhere. And so through maybe the first year or two, we had various people and contractors in other market sectors reach out to us. And it sounded like a great fit, and they sounded like people we wanted to work with. And again, it's all relationship driven. It's kind of a natural, you meet someone, you like it, they have a need, and you think you can help them with it. And that's what we like to do. We're sort of agnostic maybe in how we approach what we like. It's again, relationships, and, people trust us to do their projects, and we do our best to do them well, regardless of the market sector. So that's kind of the short answer. And I guess what that has grown us into is the industrial world, which, if anyone knows Phoenix, the industrial market here is booming with a lot of people onshoring from California, or inshoring, I think they call it, from California.
Mm.
We're relatively close to ports, so there's all kinds of industrial product going up. And then we've more recently sort of deliberately stepped into some municipal type work. We're doing some county work right now, which taps into a little bit of my prior experience working with cities and things like that. So it's been, I'd say, organic. Nothing's been forced. It's been, this opportunity comes up, we consider it, and it feels like a good fit. And so far it's worked out pretty well.
So when you and I were talking prior to recording this podcast, we were talking about your nexus to like entrepreneurial doctors and private healthcare facilities, which are a little bit different from traditional healthcare projects. Why was this sector like so meaningful to you based on your prior experience, or is it a personal thing, or why did you really focus there?
I think it's a personal thing, maybe for both Steve and I, but it also, it kind of fits who we are. In prior firms, we've worked with all the big, regional and local healthcare systems, doing massive bed towers and major hospitals, major improvements to entire hospital systems and things like that. We've done that, and we can do that, and we've still done work inside of those big hospitals. We do it. It's just not the biggest piece of what we do. We like working with developers and doctors who kind of are doing their own thing and want to develop their own thing. They're self-starters. They have a lot of energy. They have a lot of passion for what we're doing, just like we do. And for these doctors, this might be the only building they ever develop in their lives. Doctors don't need to develop an ASC every year. Some
Right.
big systems do. This is their heart and soul. It's kind of like a family building their house. This is what they have worked their entire professional career to get to be able to put money down and actually build something. So it's a level of trust that just, we really try to not take advantage of, and we love it. They're fun. We're kind of a young architecture firm, but we take pride in educating them. We really like to take those doctors on sort of an educational journey throughout the process, because a lot of them, they're brilliant at what they do, but they're doctors. They're not architects. They're not engineers.
Yeah.
Some bridge multiple disciplines, but I haven't found a doctor architect yet. So, they come in with a lot of knowledge on the process. They've done their research because they're incredibly smart people, but we help educate them along the way and really walk them through the process. It's, we try to guide them as best we can. We try to integrate as much consultants and things like that with us or under us that we can. So it's kind of I hate the phrase one-stop shop, but we make it as easy for them as possible and really just guide them. And they're a lot of fun. Like I said, they're entrepreneurs building their own ASC. Everyone in the firm here has that kind of mindset as well. So we all build off each other's energy and this desire to build something greater than us.
What think is like the biggest challenge you think these doctors face when designing a facility, and how does Cotton help them solve the complexity of that? Because I'm sure being doctors, they're very detail oriented, and sometimes I bet you get caught in some of those details. So how do you walk them through those challenges?
It is difficult sometimes, to be honest. I mean,
yeah.
They don't know what they don't know. So sometimes they will ask questions and you have to, like I said, educate them. One of the hardest parts, or, the worst news they get usually is when they get their first estimate of what a building costs. I think people have an idea of what, facilities cost, and ASCs are just by their nature expensive buildings to construct. And I think that sticker price sometimes, if they haven't researched that, or sometimes they have their head in the sand of, I think I can do it cheaper. That sticker price is usually a hard thing to get over. Projects go away because of that, because we try to educate them along the way. This is what we've seen in the market. This is an efficient, well-designed building. There's no granite tabletops or anything in here. This is your baseline ASC, and this is what it costs to build in the Phoenix market or wherever. And you do your best to tell them that. And sometimes they don't believe you and they think they'll wait for the price to come, and then they're shocked. And so that's a challenging piece. And I think, just the way the market is, the prices change so much that there's a level of risk that they take on by embarking on a project, because it takes time to design. And in 6 months, who knows what the price is going to be? No one knows, especially with the world we live in now. So
Totally.
There's a big challenge with all that right now. It's just so flexible. COVID, everyone saw that prices were only valid for a day or two or a week or two or something like that. So it's a wild market. So that's a big challenge. And then time, really getting doctors to spend the time needed to really think through projects is a challenge. Like I said, they're busy. We joke internally that, the best times to meet with doctors are after hours or weekends, which is challenging for people who have families or have to go home and all that kind of stuff. But you have to try to meet them in certain ways where they're at, because they are doctors during the day. And sometimes these are side projects they're working on. But you have to make the time as efficient with them as you can when you have those hour meetings with the doctors, which a lot of times is all you can get. You got to cram as much into those meetings as you can. And
talk
get
about
answers to what you
right?
want. Yes, yeah.
You have to be efficient because the brass tacks, you only have so much time. So that makes sense. Yeah. Do you think that, do you have return customers, or is the way that you gain business through, you said relationships, but is it through affiliations? How do you guys find your customer segment?
We have largely been word of mouth, and that is, knock on wood, carried us through 5 years fairly strong.
Yeah.
We don't do much marketing in terms of online. We do a fair amount of business development. We try to get out in the world and meet people. So it's really word of mouth, and kind of randomly, sometimes through our website, we'll get a cold call or whatever it's called through a website where people will just reach out and say, hey, I've got a project I need help on, and you look like you'd be a good fit. And we go from there. That being said, that's worked for us the last 5 years, and we're being very deliberate about how we orient ourselves to the next 5 years. We're maybe not a baby firm, we're kind of growing, and we're ready to orient ourselves to the future and be very deliberate now about targeting these different groups that we've identified, whether it's doctors or on the industrial side, or starting to look at cities and municipalities like that, and start doing RFPs on that side.
Yeah.
So,
do you guys do that? Do you guys ever bid on public
the one that we started recently was one of the first ones that we've done. I can probably count on one hand the number of RFPs that we've done, or the number of times we've had to compete against other firms openly. I'm sure doctors are talking to us and talking to others behind the scenes, but we haven't really done formal RFP processes. For those not in the industry, those are incredibly expensive processes. Yeah.
They're a lot of work. So
they're expensive.
Good for you.
Yeah, expensive to chase after.
Yeah. But if you if you land it,
Mm-hmm.
then it's a wonderful experience.
Mm-hmm.
However, getting to that point it's a heavy lift for
Yep.
sure. And
And
you guys are looking to get into that.
yeah, we're, when we were much smaller, we're 7 people now. When there was 2, 3, 4 of us, small firm like that just doesn't have the time or the effort or the dollars really to do that. We're 7 people. We're not drastically different, but I think we're at a point now where we can make that work. We can figure out ways to spend the time and do the proper development of the RFPs and start chasing them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So are you guys only working in the Phoenix proper? Are you nationwide, or what does your customer segment look like?
We are licensed in Arizona. We are licensed currently in 4 other states, Utah, Nevada, New Mexico, and Texas, and have active projects in New Mexico. Nevada just finished, I believe, and then we're looking at a project in Utah right now. But
Awesome.
both Steve and I have what's called an NCARB certificate, which allows us to get licensed in most other states relatively easy. So we have plans. We're looking to do work in other states. That's one of my goals for the year this year, is to get a project in a new state and get licensed in a new state and sort of grow organically that way. We've got some ideas.
That's the way that you do it, right? So
Yep.
what in say within the last year or two, is there a recent project that really kind of showcases what Cotton does best?
We have, we're getting really good at these ground up and medical projects. I'll say 2. So we've got one in design right now, and I don't want to share too much. We'll start putting some stuff out on social media once it's done. But we're pursuing a really unique energy system for the building. It's an ASC, and ASCs have backup power requirements. So we're doing a lot of research, and we're going to have a really unique approach that we're really excited about. I don't want to say it's quite cutting edge, but it is out there, and it's going to be really cool. We've been working for a month or 2 with our client who's really pushing this idea, and our engineers to validate this technological approach, I'll call it. And we've
Awesome.
kind of gotten to the point where we think it's possible, and we've checked all the codes, and we've talked to manufacturers, and we're going to make this happen. So it's going to be kind of a really cool crowning jewel project that we're going to be really proud of. That our client had an idea. I don't like to say no. I like to say I'm going to look into it, and so we really did, and we really pushed it hard, and by gosh, we can do it. And so I'm pretty excited. That'll be a really cool one.
Is the process that you guys are working on, do you think you guys can duplicate it for other future buildings?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
good.
Yeah. So that's our goal. I think it's a real opportunity in the ASC space to take what we've learned in this level of development that we've done and apply it to other facilities. And actually, that this group has talked to us that they say, once we're done with this project, we have another project here that we want to use this on. So let's figure it out once, and then we'll just start deploying it across these other facilities. So, again, it's really, this gets back to our technical focus. Because it's new and because it's different, could be safe, could be dangerous, who knows? So it's our job as architects and professionals to really dig into that. And I'm pretty proud of what we've done internally and what our engineers have done to really chase that down and find a way to do it. It's been pretty exciting. It's been really rewarding.
That's so cool. So you'll have to share with me when
Yes.
all of this comes to fruition. You'll have to come back on, and we'll have to talk about
Absolutely.
the innovations of this project. So that's really cool to hear. So what do you think, as a business owner, what do you think has been the biggest surprise about running your own firm? Like something that you just didn't expect that you would have to manage?
Everything. I went to school for architecture. I am an architect. I always want to be. I've always had an interest in business. I took entrepreneurial management classes when I was in undergrad. I took business classes. I read business books, but I don't have a degree in it or anything. So when we were starting, we used to joke we're building the plane as we're flying it. And I think you just don't know.
Everybody's doing that, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't
you're all
think
faking it.
I think everybody's faking it until they make it, for
Yep.
sure.
Yeah. But no one tells you that there's so much paperwork. You hire employees, there's HR stuff you have to do. There's all of this business stuff, receivables, balance sheets, profit and losses and stuff. It's like, I just want to do architecture.
Yeah.
But there's just running the business day to day, signing a commercial lease, which is completely different than a residential I don't know, rental contract or something. It's all these different, it's just a different world than most people have experienced, or at least that I, hadn't experienced up until cotton. Had some experience and thoughts because of those classes and things like that, but nothing prepares you. And I think the fun part, we're architects, we're creative people. We like to design things. So I've actually really enjoyed designing the business and designing what cotton is. I think Steve has as well. And everyone really internally here has had a lot of fun designing what cotton is. It's kind of grown beyond what we could have imagined, but we're all having fun designing it. It's really been fun.
Yeah, that architects are like on the cusp of, you're designers, you're artists, but you're also very practical from the engineering perspective. So kind of mixing all of those together really creates a cool palette for you guys to work from. So I always like to consider architects as kind of the nucleus of any community, because what you guys build really defines the personality of what that community is supposed to be and is meant to be. And so you really are the nucleus, which makes your subset and your experience really unique in any community that you guys serve. So props to you for that.
Yeah. You give us too much credit, I think. We're just one piece of it.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a pretty important piece, a really important piece. So tell me, what do you think has been like the most rewarding moment you've had since launching Cotton? Has it been a project? Has it been setting up shop? Like, what has been the most rewarding thing for you as an owner of Cotton?
To just to see where it's gone, and I can't take credit. I don't think Steve could take credit. We can't take credit. I think just seeing where this crazy idea kind of went from it. To be honest, you step your foot out and you kind of think, I don't know, maybe we'll make it a year or two. Let's see what happens. Who knows? You kind of have plan B in the back of your head, and just to see how we're still here and how Cotton, meaning Steve and I and the whole team out there, have really grown and what they've turned it into, and how that has translated into all those projects and things like that for the community that you mentioned. I don't have kids, but I love seeing the development of everyone in the office here. It's kind of exciting to see just how much everyone has grown and how much Cotton has grown, and everyone has sort of taken ownership of that, kind of created their own thing where we kind of have fun here. We enjoy what we're doing, and we're all building this thing together. And I think that's just been one of the coolest pieces, because we build this little thing, whatever this is, and we get to go out and share it with clients and consultants in our community and things like that. And that's just been fun. It's not just architecture, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think that that's really important. So let's talk a little bit about the business side of actual architecture. So what are some of the biggest challenges you've faced as a small firm owner in comparison to competing with some of the bigger guys in the field? Has there been a challenge for you?
There is, I'd say it's a perception thing, maybe. I think, because we're small, people maybe don't think that we can do larger projects, and we can. We've started to, projects take a long time. So maybe a year or two ago, we've started to have physical proof of, yeah, we can pull these things off. We've have ground up buildings where we've done lots of surgery centers. We've done all these very intensive things that sometimes take time to come to fruition and show off. And we've kind of crossed that hurdle, I think, to a little bit. But you still have to prove yourself against the big dogs. There's people out there with brand recognition or just larger teams, and they can compete maybe easier on some things. So I think it's a perception thing. And that's another one of our deliberate goals of this coming year, really, is to make sure people know, hey, Cotton can actually do this kind of stuff, and actually starting to get our name and our presence front of mind for them when they have a new project. Oh yeah, the Cotton guys or Cotton team knows how to do that. So that's a challenge. It's just a perception thing. It's just something we got to do. It kind of is what it is. I think you're also fighting against, bigger resources and things like that, bigger teams, like I said. So yeah, there's challenges like that.
Don't you love, like, I love this because I'm a small business too, right? Like the grit that you put into being perceived like you can do the job just like the big guys, and probably a little bit better, a little bit more personable, and maybe cheaper, but let's not talk about price. Let's really just talk about the grit that you have when it comes to working in a small firm. You have to respect that. Like,
100%.
Not everybody has that.
No.
And if you've got it, then, and you can make it work, like, props to you, because it's not easy to come by. No, it's difficult.
100%. I think I don't like being told no. I'm kind of stubborn maybe in a way. And it's like, if people tell me you can't do that, I'm like, I'll figure it out. I'll do
Really?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I'll find a way to do it. And I think maybe that's grit in a different way. But I think, solving problems in unique ways. I think because we are small, I think we have to be nimble. And I think that has served us well against some of the bigger competition maybe out there. We can move quick. No one in here has, there's not really a hierarchy here. It's like, here's this new solution or new software or whatever. It's like, cool, sounds good. Let's make it work. Let's find it out. And we don't have a hierarchy or CEOs to buy through or CFOs or whatever. We have to get approval on anything. It's like, is this a good idea? Let's at least try it. Maybe we do a trial. Maybe we do a 1-year subscription or something. We can just do that. We don't have to ask 50 questions. We can move fast and break things, or whatever that phrase is. And that gives us an advantage.
Yeah, you can be nimble, right? Like, you can definitely move and adjust to the client deliverables. I love that. I love that. I mean, and I've been in big firms too, so I understand the difference between big and small. And I think that for being a smaller firm, you are much more agile to be able to move with the changes and, the discrepancies that come up. It just makes you easier or more capable of doing it, instead of having to cut through all this red tape of what just goes on in a big firm and all the political stuff you have to get through. Like, cut that out.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to deal
It's
with
a
that.
headache. I've worked at firms that were, I don't know, 500 or 600 people before the weight crash and things like that. And I've worked at, Cotton's the smallest firm I've ever worked for. And I've seen that range, and I like the ability. Everyone here does a little bit of everything, and I love that. I never want to give up a piece. I never want to be just a designer and I'm off at my desk sketching all day. I never want that. I've never wanted that. And you lose that at a big firm for sure. I've seen that and experienced it.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. And I think you touched on it, a few minutes ago. You mentioned the relationships. That really is a huge thing too. Every client can call and they can get anyone in the office, at any time, I'd say during business hours. And we're all really good about talking to them and things like that. So you don't get that at every firm. Maybe a larger firm, you might get a big, the head person answering or something like that. And then it gets trickled down from there. But we focus on talking to people.
One other question for you. What, if you could go back and give yourself like one piece of advice before starting Cotton, what do you think that would be?
I think it's to be open to other people who know more than you on things. I guess like an accountant, for an example, like just be ready and be open to find good people that can help you with the pieces of the business or architecture or whatever, that they can just do better than you. I think it took us maybe a year to figure that out, where we finally got to the point where like, we can't do everything. We're humans. We just can't. And you kind of accept like, oh, there's people out there that can do things better than me. And you get to that point where it's like, we need an accountant, we need a bookkeeper, and it makes your life easier. And it's not just on the business side. I think, when it was just Steve and I, we knew sort of each other's strengths. And as we got employees, you get to the point where like, oh, that person, even though they're maybe younger than me or whatever, they can do that particular piece better than I can. And I start relying on them all the time. And it's not that we ever really had egos, but it's kind of getting over that and just accepting that people are different and people can do things better than others, and people can do things better than me. And there's things I can do better than maybe other people, but playing into everyone's talents and not taking advantage, playing into everyone's talents is really the big thing.
Yeah, I mean, you surround yourself with people that are smarter than you.
Yep.
And when you do that, you become more successful, and you rely on those others that really know how to, channel whatever it is that they do better. And if you can exploit that, then why not? That is what scaling and growth is all about. So I love that that's kind of a, if I could go back and do it over again, here's how I would do it. That's really poignant for someone who's in business for themselves, and especially when you're starting out as a small business. So what do you guys have planned for the future? Do you have any good projects or future plans that you can share with the world without, giving away the secret sauce?
Yeah, for sure. So every year at the end of the year, we do a team building, recap of what we did over the year, and then where we're going, or where Steve and I might think we should go. And then we take everyone's feedback and look at it. So what we're really planning is to be more deliberate, like I think I said, and to organically grow our core smartly and deliberately and safely, and conservatively, making sure we're not overextending ourselves into adjacent market sectors, adjacent geographies, and then really looking at our client base, potentially for clients who might have outposts in other states or their home base in another state, and starting to say, hey, we've done great work for you here. We have this ability to do projects in, 5 states total now, or get licensed in another state now. Do you have anything else you might need help with, or you need the cotton method or the cotton way on in a different locale? So starting to do that, and then starting to look at other market sectors. We've looked at higher ed. It's a little bit slow build, a little bit slow burn to get into that type of market. But we've started, talking to people and going to meetings and things like that, and starting to just get the lay of the land. We know it's going to be a slow build, but we're starting to be very deliberate and, starting
intentional.
To intentional. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I think in AEC, what's interesting is that you are always partnering with your competitors. And you have to play nice in the sandbox with your competitors, because at some point in time, you're going to need a DBA, or you're going to need some sort of partnership that you are going to need to partner with your biggest competitor to be able to see, the end result come to fruition. And there's not many industries that do that.
No.
So you definitely have to learn how to play nice in the sandbox.
Yeah. And we've had a couple opportunities like that. Nothing, I'm trying to think, partnering with an architecture firm specifically. We haven't done that. We've had a couple opportunities and discussions that have started along that way, but just hasn't shaken out quite yet. But yeah, that's something that we have talked about and did talk about, at our meeting here that we held. And the other thing I should say, you talked about competitors. I think the architecture industry in Phoenix is a small world, even though the city's 5 million people or something like that. For the most part, everyone kind of knows everyone. And then the healthcare niche of the architecture industry is even smaller. So we have competitors, but I mean, full disclosure, I'll call some of them up and be like, hey, I've got this surgery center project. You guys do surgery centers as well. What do you think? And I try to maintain good and professional relationships with competitors, because you never know. And I respect them. I mean, there's a reason that they are good at what they do. They know what they're doing. And so I hope that effort is shared. I hope I can help them at some point, or at least provide, little feedback or whatever if they've got a question. But I think that's how I like to do things. I'm not cutthroat. I'm not going to go stab you in the back or anything like that. That's just is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, that's just bad business all the way around. It's just bad business. But yeah, it definitely requires some collaborative effort in the AEC market segment that you have to work with your competitors in some way, shape, or form. So don't burn bridges. It's not going to help you.
No, it's a small world. It'll come back no matter what. And I think we have to keep in mind, what we do, especially in the healthcare. It is my passion. I take it very seriously. We're creating spaces for people to heal. To me, that's not something to fight over. We're all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to get things built that help people. And I think you have to respect your competitors, even if they're in the same market as you, I guess.
So how can listeners connect with you or learn more about Cotton Architecture? Where should they go?
Yeah, you can go to our website. There's a contact tab, I believe, there. If not, info@cottonarchitecture.com will come to us and we'll jump on it. We jump on those real quick when they have questions and things like that. So those are probably the best. But reach out through the website is also just as good. We'll get that.
Awesome. Well, Ryan from Cotton Architecture, thank you so much for your time today. I can't wait to see what you guys grow and build and scale. It sounds like you guys are ready to hit the ground running. So looking forward to having you back to learn more about those projects that you're implementing in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shannon. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Yep. Thank you.